We are approaching 5 months of living in this RV behind us.
And today we're going to give you some updates on what life has been like, some of the upgrades that we've made, and some of the fixes that we've had to make along the way. If you haven't checked out our other YouTube video when we first bought this RV, check that out because we give you a tour of the exterior and interior. But let's talk about what it's been like living in this daily in a small little tiny house. Overall, RV living has been great, but there has been one particular really big challenge, and that's been the shoe situation. So as you come in, you're gonna see shoes on the exterior right there to my right, and then there's also shoes here on the interior. And we have the habit of accidentally letting our shoes stay outside when it rains, which isn't great, but we don't have a mudroom, so we're making it work.
A typical day in here starts off with a very early morning wake up by our beloved dog George.
Georgie is a crate trained dog, so we have a little crated area in here for him to sleep, but around like 3 a.m. every single morning, he decides he wants to come and cuddle instead of sleep in the crate. So we're typically woken up by a scratching noise.
Well, so what he's learned is that he's able to just incessantly scratch on the crate, and it's extremely loud and annoying, and we have no choice but to get up and let him out, and he immediately jumps into bed.
Do you hear that? Oh my goodness. What the heck is going on? And he's off.
After our early wake-up call, we typically go back to sleep for a little bit, and then we wake up and I make coffee using this kettle that my mom purchased, and then we also usually make eggs. Right now, our hens are starting to lay a little bit less than what they usually do because it's getting colder and the days are getting shorter.
This little stove has been awesome, and unbelievably, we're still coasting on the same propane tank that we bought the RV with. And that's been like, yeah, almost 5 months ago now. Now, granted, it is not strong enough to start the water heater anymore, but it is plenty to start the stove. We can boil coffee water and make eggs, and there's no signs of it slowing down. After Elena gets some coffee in her and we got some eggs on the stove, mornings typically start on our futon here. The futon cover we got on Amazon has worked out really well for keeping this clean. But we have our laptop workstation here. I'll usually be over there editing video. Lena's working on website stuff, and we're just enjoying the morning. We try to get up by no later than 6 o'clock in the morning if we can. Sometimes it ends up more like 7, but there's been mostly 5:30 to 6 o'clock wake up, so it's dark typically in the morning, and we're just working on the computers before it's daylight. A question we get a lot is how much more productive are we now that we live here on site in the camper versus when we were commuting to the site, even though it was only 6 miles away? My answer to this is, as far as like getting house build work done, I think we've actually been less productive, because we have a nice comfortable space away from the construction site that we can come to, take a nap, get in the air conditioning, eat, shower, sleep, that sort of thing. And while that's been really nice to have, it's definitely negatively impacted my motivation sometimes to get out there and get to work when I have this nice comfy RV to hang out in.
Now, I would argue that a little bit and say that our work out on the house typically goes in waves. We'll have a couple of days where we're constantly working outside for like 10 to 12 hours, and then we'll have other days when we're inside working on the computer. So it is a little bit challenging because we do have this space, but it makes it nice because we can kind of balance our workload a little bit better between the stuff we need to do online with editing videos, getting back to emails and things, and then doing the work on the house. But that's going to change soon. We're going to have to spend a lot more time outside because winter is coming, and
getting colder.
And we're on a deadline.
Like I said in our first video, these RVs are not winter vehicles. They are not meant for people to be in when it's really cold out. And so we definitely need to get things wrapped up in there so we can get in. Overall, in space, it's pretty comfortable with just the two of us and George in here, but there are some situations where you definitely know you're in an RV. Here's one of them. When we try to get out of the darn nook here with the laptops, the person on the inside has to basically crawl over like that
Or you just
Or
get up.
I have to scoot all the way out here to let
And then
her
I
out.
can get out.
And then, yeah, that just kind of disrupts the workflow a little bit if you're like in the middle of something. But another situation is when we have just one other person in here. Where do they sit at dinner? Because there's a dog crate basically on the whole other side of the table. This is what we do for that. So down in this cabinet, we slide the massive box of garden veggies out of the way and all of our drinking water. We keep behind all of the pretzels and other snacks a folding chair. This is our guest chair. And just like that, we have a 3-person seating arrangement. One last funny story about daily life in the RV. We had the leaf out of this table, so it was pushed back. I'm sitting in the futon like this, right? And Elena was getting her shoes on or something over there, accidentally steps back on the edge of that dog bowl and just flings the whole thing of water at me. I just got drenched in cold dog water. And the funny thing is, like, my only reaction, I was so not expecting this, obviously, and my only reaction was just, and I like gasped, and Elena like turned around and she's like, "Why did you gasp?" And I'm literally drenched in water, and she had no idea why. That is just another perk of RV life. Speaking of George, our dog, he's not in here right now. You might be wondering where he's at. We're gonna show you a fun little fact about George. Follow me. When we go on car rides, George really, really loves the car. The problem with that is when we get to where we're going. Because George doesn't like to get out of the car. So we've been here for probably like an hour and a half, 2 hours now, and I can guarantee you if I try to get him out of here,
Just say he doesn't want to.
he's growling at me and he does not want to come out. Basically, we wait for several hours before George feels like he wants to exit the vehicle before he comes out. So that's just a little fun fact about George. If you have a dog that likes vehicles as much as he does and won't get out when you get to your destination, please leave a comment below to know that we're not alone in this.
Oh, Georgie is shaking. He must be scared of this rain.
He's scared of the rainstorm.
But buddy, you don't want to come in, huh, bud? You want to come outside? Come with us in the RV. No. Here, let mommy try. You went back there. You want to stay in here?
Nope,
Okay.
not happening.
Well, one thing to note is obviously we do not let him stay in the car if it's super hot outside. Right now it's like probably 50 degrees, so he's okay in here.
Yeah, we're not bad dog parents.
Can we get you out this door? Oh, it's okay. Let's go potty. Okay. You're a good boy. You're
That's our
scared.
doggo.
You're a scaredy cat. You're okay, sweet honey.
Now let's talk about some upgrades. A couple months ago, I put a video out about dumping the black tank of this RV for the first time ever. I had to tow it down to the septic system with the skid steer. It was a whole big fiasco. Well, a lot of people that do a lot of RVing commented on that video and gave me a lot of good tips and advice, and I'll admit, before I was just kind of ignorant about RVs and I did not take the time to do all the research I needed to, so I just kind of winged it. Well, I did the right thing, I think, and got some more equipment to make this work better. Let me show you how we did it. Get these weeds out of here. So before, if you recall, I just had a piece of rigid pipe that was just loosely placed up over the outlet of the drains. It took a 45 and went straight back. Well, the problem with that is it was not watertight, so when the black and gray tank's empty, it comes out with a lot of velocity, and it was sort of overflowing the top a bit and had to go really slow, which is not good for getting all the gunk out of the tanks that needs all the flow it can get. So these are the components that I sort of cobbled together to make work. This is a 45-degree clear elbow with a back flush port. That allows me to actually see what's coming out of the tanks, and I can hook a hose up to put water back into the tanks to do more back flushing and put water back into the tanks to prevent anything from sticking to the sides. Next downstream is this extra gate valve that twist locks onto the clear elbow. This is what allows me to fill the tanks back up with water and do extra flushes to get more gunk out of the tank. With that closed, I can put the hose on the back flush adapter and then fill the tanks up. Open this up, everything comes back out. The next downstream component is this flexible black hose. This came with the RV, but I'm using it basically as a trap. So a P-trap in regular plumbing is what keeps sewer gases from coming up through your sinks and showers and that sort of thing. This is the same kind of deal, and it's preventing sewer gas from getting back into our black tanks and then back up through our toilet when we flush the toilet. This flexible hose is essentially just full of water, and that water stops any gases from passing up into the RV.
How do you know it's full of water?
You can feel it. It's heavy.
Oh, gotcha.
This setup has been working a lot better in conjunction with a little bit of hose modification we did. I'll show you that in a second. I can empty the tanks as fast and as much as I need to, and it has really worked out quite well. So thank you for everyone who gave me the advice on that YouTube video. Here's the water splitter that I put in order to get water to that elbow without having to undo this through this black hose here. This is a brass Y, I guess you could call it, with a valve on each one, and there's an anti-siphon valve right here. This prevents any sewage water from going back through this hose and into our fresh water supply, because this is the water that goes into the camper. But it's really easy because I can just hook that hose up to this, change these valves, and all of our water pressure goes into filling those tanks rather than going into the RV. We spent a good bit of money on Amazon getting all these components, so if you're interested in any of this and seeing exactly what we bought, we did make a little folder in our Amazon store called RV Living, and it's got all the stuff that we used for the drain system, the water piping, our trash cans, all the RV life stuff. There's a link in the description.
For interior upgrades, we upgraded our internet. If you watched our last video, you saw that we were renting a little T-Mobile hotspot from the library. We now have a T-Mobile tower. This is like $50 a month. It's worked extremely well, and we're really happy with it, and we're probably gonna use it for our internet in the main house. So if you're looking for a solution for internet, highly recommend that. Another thing that we did, this is kind of like a small upgrade, but has been really helpful for us, is putting hooks in some places. So we have hooks here on the side to hang our hats. And then we also have a hook here to hold a bag. And this bag just has all of our recycles in it. We also upgraded to this little Bissell vacuum. This works really great for this small space. It does have a cord attached to it, but it works fine for this because this is so small and it gets the job done. All right, now we have a couple upgrades in the bedroom. One being that Alex added some shelves in here for me to stack my clothes. Before, I just literally piled everything in there. So now it's a little bit more organized. I know it doesn't look like it, but it is. And it makes the space more efficient for storage. One last upgrade that we've made is not specific to RV living, but we upgraded our pillows to these pillows from Woolshire. The really cool thing about Woolshire is that the couple who hand makes these pillows also self-built their house, and so the pillows are made of wool, as you might have guessed, that is sourced from the US, and the pillowcases are also sourced from the US, and they're made of 100% cotton. So it's all natural materials, and it's just worth sharing because it's something we're excited about. And we almost forgot, the biggest and most important upgrade we made to this RV actually is in the freezer. And it is our peppermint patty dispenser. So if you don't have one of these, you're really missing out, and you need to fix your priorities because this is the best thing that we've ever done.
I didn't even know that I liked your peppermint patties that much until we had one just randomly, and I was like, whoa, this is amazing. And now we have a dispenser in our freezer. So yeah, if you're not doing that, get yourself straight.
And I don't know what this thing was actually meant for, but the bag fits perfectly in here, and we just cut a little hole here at the bottom so we can pull them out as we need them, like right now. And now a short break to enjoy our peppermint patties. Cheers.
Fun fact, we live not that far from Hershey, the Hershey company, who is the owner of York Peppermint Patty. So growing up, I at least went on high school field trips there, probably at least a dozen times to do like physics field trips for the roller coasters and stuff like that.
I actually did go on a physics trip to Hershey as well, which is kind of funny. So you would actually go to Hershey and you would have a problem that you would have to solve about the roller coaster before you got on it. And I don't know, it was a pretty cool concept.
Big packet of problems. Everyone would try to get them done on the bus before we got there so we could just ride roller coasters all day. But it's a really awesome theme park. If you haven't been, check Hershey Park out. Not only the amusement park, but they have like a pretty cool chocolate factory tour and a really nice hotel attached to it. It's an awesome spot. So that's all the upgrades we made. Let's talk repairs real quick. When we first got this, one of the first things we noticed was there was a small shower leak. In the first video, I showed how the water was kind of coming out here and bubbled this little piece of trim up. Well, I just cut that off. It looks like someone had added it at some point anyway. I'm not really sure why. And I used that Lexel to seal up the shower, and we have not had any problems since. Knock on vinyl. Oh, hello. So the shower repair, I think, is complete, at least for now. Another thing we noticed not long after we got the RV was this window leaks. We knew this area was soft, that's why this curtain thing had been reinforced on the backside with that board, but we didn't know how badly it leaked. So it turns out the awning would basically funnel water and waterfall down the outside of this window, and basically the sealant at the top of the window failed. So on the outside, I've actually gone back through and filled that all with Lexel, and it's held up awesome. It hasn't leaked since. So that has been a problem solved.
If you saw our vinyl siding video, you probably saw that we had a storm roll through here about 6 weeks ago. It was pretty intense. We don't know if it was a tornado or a microburst, but it was so intense that there was a branch or a rock that got thrown into this window and completely broke a corner of it. Right now, our repair is just packaging tape, and it's held up really well for the time being. We are gonna get it quoted to see what it costs to fix the window, but not sure what we're gonna do about that. Another thing that broke during the storm was the awning. Honestly, the storm was so bad, we're lucky that there wasn't more damage than those two things. When the awning is up against the RV, it dumps water into the window that Alex was just referencing. So he had slightly pulled it out, but that was a bad idea for this storm because the winds were about 85 miles per hour and it just ripped the awning down completely. It does still function. It takes a little bit of work to get it down now. And the corners are kind of ripped up, as you can see. But other than that, it still functions okay. We could replace it if we wanted to. We're in the process of getting all the footage together from the storm and also repairing some of the things that were damaged on the house. We will have a video that comes out soon with more details about that and what we needed to do to clean up from that.
We're back at the corner where the water comes in, and this brings us to our last and probably largest repair that we've had to make on the camper. Literally the day after the storm hit, I walked back here and noticed there's dripping coming off the back of the RV, and it's like pretty steady, and it's like way up underneath where the like insulation and floorboards are supposed to be. So I'm like, shoot, what is that? I thought that it was the water heater, because that is what's in here. There's a big 6-gallon tank that goes underneath our futon. This was basically where it was dripping. So I was like, shoot, is our water heater really leaking? Are we gonna have to replace this thing? I was looking at how much they are. They're like several $100s because they're special gas and electric water heaters. So we ripped the futon off. I disconnected all of the stuff that is connected to this water heater, the gas lines, the power lines, the water lines, took this out and found that the water heater is actually in great shape. So that was the good news. The bad news is that there was mold underneath the futon and the whole floor was wet. This whole corner was basically rotten. The floor was as soft as could be. You basically put your finger right through it. So we spent about a day cutting the corner of the floor out, finding that the actual water leak was this hose bib connection here. The fitting on the inside of this wall was leaking. It was for some reason missing a washer on the inside. So I unscrewed this, pulled this whole thing out, put a new washer in, and that was fixed. But the damage was pretty much already done, and it clearly had been like this for a long time because this wood was like totally disintegrated. It was not like a 1 or 2 day thing. It had been leaking for a long time. So I tore all that out as much as I could, put new wood in there, and put it all back together the best I could. But like I said in the first RV video, these campers are not really built to last. They're really only good for maybe 10, 20 year lifespan before some sort of leak happens, and then inevitably you get these soft spots and rotten spots, and you just kind of got to do the bare minimum to keep them alive for just one more season. So that's what we did here. Going back to what we mentioned about getting progress on the house done, the RV has definitely been a bit of a distraction in some cases because of the projects it just seems to kind of generate, not only cleaning and cooking and stuff on the inside, but all of the exterior maintenance and fixing stuff. So while it has been a blessing to have this, it definitely has been a little bit of a distraction. We actually like to call distractions distraction chickens. I don't even, oh, it's from a Trailer Park Boys reference.
It's distraction chicken. I'm buying jewels.
Anytime one or the other of us catches the other person being distracted, whether it's looking at stupid videos on their phone or just doing something completely non-productive and just worthless. We're like, that's a distraction chicken. And make a chicken noise. I'm just walking over here to get her this run line to talk about, and I'm like, what the heck is this thing? It's like a groundhog on the ground. You know, it's just the vacuum cleaner that she emptied out, which she didn't go the other, 20 feet to the woods. She just puts it right in the middle of the grass. Thank you for that. Anyway.
You're welcome. This run line has been holding up really well for Georgie. He'll spend like 3 hours in the morning out here on the line, and then he'll spend another 3 hours out here on the line in the evening. Basically, anytime there's shade, he is out here, and he really loves it. Behind me, you'll notice that there is some type of fence looking thing, which is actually a garden bed that we started building with a technique called wattle fencing. What essentially it is weaving branches to make a wall. And so we did this to make a garden bed. The idea is that once we're done with it, it's going to be the height of this stick, which is about 24 inches. And then we will backfill it with a bunch of material and then have a raised garden bed for next year. Since this is really close to the woods and we don't really plan on fencing this in, we are likely just going to plant some perennial flowers in here to make a beautiful arrangement. We'll have to make sure that those flowers are deer resistant. So we'll probably try some vegetables, but it will primarily be flowers. The sticks are from trees that fell during the storm. I convinced Alex to take the time with me to cut up the trees and save the sticks so that we can make these garden beds. The larger sticks we used for the stakes to hammer down into the ground. And now our idea is to kind of run these wattle beds along the tree line here. And we were thinking it's going to make a really cool feature with a bunch of native perennial flowers that we can kind of create a little border to our property. When we were collecting all of the sticks for the wattle beds, we ended up with a bunch of leaves and really tiny branches. So we just put them in a pile here to decompose, and this has kind of become our compost bin. So we put all of our food scraps here as well. And then eventually when we get the chickens over here, we're going to kind of take some of this brush and put it in with the chickens because they really like to scratch through things. And this will be a really fun way to keep them entertained. Speaking of chickens, our fluffy friends are clearly not here yet, but we do have the solar fencing here so that we're ready for them. We're hoping to bring them over here in probably the next month and a half. Once it starts getting really cold out, it's really hard to manage their water without checking on it every single day. Chickens won't eat if they don't have access to water, and if that water is frozen, you have a problem. So we will move them over here, use this solar fence in combination with an enclosed area. This cool little piece of turf was initially outside of the RV with another piece of turf, but we kind of moved it into the center of the yard so that we can work out on it. This just makes a soft, clean surface for us to be able to exercise. So we bring a mat out here, bring out some weights, and we're able to get our workouts in. If you look closely at the house, you can see that there's some progress further than what we've ever showed you here on YouTube. Our YouTube videos are slightly behind, and they're gonna hopefully get caught up at some point in time, but they take a long time to edit. So we just wanted to give you a brief update on the things that we've done on the house that you may have not seen here yet.
Yeah, we've gotten most of the exterior done. We have a little bit of siding to wrap up on the dormers, a little bit more PVC trim around the doors. The stone veneer is just about done. We have a little bit more grouting to do, and then we can put all the rest of the garage door trims, and the exterior will be basically wrapped up. On the inside, we've got all the wiring, the plumbing done. HVAC is started, but we got to finish that ductwork, and we have a little bit of insulation done as well. The main things before we get sheetrock on the interior are the HVAC ductwork, that's heating, cooling, our ERV, and our whole house dehumidifier. Finish all of the insulation. Every single open cavity is getting insulation. And then finally, we'll be doing a vapor control layer. It's a product by Sega. It's sort of a special thing. You don't see it on many house builds, but we're going for a really airtight house, and it's definitely a feature of that type of construction. We're doing that, and then we'll get a blower door test on the house as well. That's all got to happen before we get sheetrock on, and then the interior starts. We're already looking ahead to ordering cabinets, trim, doors, that sort of thing, and that will really start making this look like a house.
We're excited to keep you in the loop with all those interior details, so stay tuned.
He is snoring his butt off. Oh my gosh. All arms and legs are twitching. Ears are twitching. What do you think he's dreaming about right now?